What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Very, very interesting week, to say the least. And I will be doing a podcast to cover all of this because I'm not going to be able to cover anywhere near all of it now. But let's just dig into it just a little bit, okay? I was on the phone with my insurance agent today. I made 3 important calls. One was my insurance agent, one was the IRS, and the other one wasn't important, but it was a pain in the ass. Now, insurance agent, first off, basically crying to me on the phone. Why? Because he deals with thousands of people, not thousands, hundreds of people on the Affordable Care Act. And what's happening is people cannot afford it. With the subsidies being dropped to where it's at, many, many, many families are not able to afford insurance. That's a problem. And what's going to wind up happening with that, who knows? They're probably going to choose not getting insurance because they're choosing between insurance and who knows what other bill, maybe their rent, and then they'll just go to the hospital when they're really sick, and they won't be able to pay the bill, and it's gonna blow up into some other catastrophe. But in all seriousness, you have plans that tripled. SNAP benefits are not going to a huge portion of people that were getting it and that actually need it. There was just a shutdown for, 2.5 months where federal workers were not getting paid. And I'm not sure if you guys realize how much of the country is actually considered a federal employee. That being said, most people do not even have the money in their bank account in the U.S. for a month of expenses. Then you had the Epstein stuff come out today. Now, you guys know I pay attention to all this. I had a thought that popped back in my head. You guys remember when Trump and Musk were getting into that feud, and then Musk made the tweet. He said, okay, I'm going to drop the big bombshell. The big bombshell? Donald Trump is in the Epstein Files. And then he said something underneath. Forgot the exact words, but it was something of the sort of, you'll see as it all plays out. Or mark my words, or mark this tweet. Coming from Elon Musk, where he has his own platform. I believe it's the #1 news platform. And over 200 million followers, in which when he tweets, he makes sure it goes on every one of his followers' pages. So all of a sudden, now you have some leaked emails that came out today. Some very incriminating leaked emails. They had to do with Jeffrey Epstein and Trump and Virginia Guthrie, and it does not look good at all. So you would say, how did this happen, right? Well, I'll tell you what I think. What I think is all these people that were backing Trump, Peter Thiel, Musk, all the tech guys, even the Republicans in Congress and Senate, they don't want him there. They don't want him there. Think about it kind of like Gotti in the Mafia, right? He was famous, the Teflon Don. But the real Mafia, he was drawing attention. It was too much. So what they're going to do most likely, and I'm going to put this prediction out there now, is they will end up impeaching Trump. And J.D. Vance will become the new president, because the timing now, don't forget the primaries are coming up soon. So with J.D. Vance in that spot, that is who they really want in there. And when I say they, I mean Silicon Valley. I mean Peter Thiel. I want you guys to do a little bit of research and look up J.D. Vance and how he just kind of popped up out of nowhere, and who he was working for, and who helped fund his book. And then you'll kind of see who groomed him. I'll just say it, Peter Thiel. And Peter Thiel is pulling some strings in the background with the company Palantir, who is a CIA contracted company that is AI driven, and it is now taking the data from Americans and compiling it all into one file. It's fucking dystopian, I'll just say that. But on the other hand, I do have to say, and before I got off the phone with my insurance guy, he kind of just snapped, and he's like, man, I don't know how anyone is still supporting this guy at this point. And you know what? I don't either. Now, I admit I was wrong. I was wrong because he actually got my vote. Now, yes, I can say the argument that he was the better of the two. But at least she was saying what she was going to do. At least you know she had these policies and she was going to come in and fuck shit up. You know, with Trump, he came in as, I'm going to drain the swamp, I'm going to tear down the deep state, I'm going to do this, that, you know, and shit, what has he done? He calls himself a peacemaker, a unifier. He'll tell you about 4 or 5 wars that he stopped in areas that many of you and me have probably never even heard of. Different conflicts in the Congo. You know, I mean, you can't really say Gaza. You can say he put in a peace plan, but is there really peace there? Or do they want that land to make it a billionaire's haven? Also involving Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. It's a shame. It's a shame. Blood money, right? So Trump's main things that he was running on was America first. America first. Well, bombing Iran is not America first. Now, people might argue that, but it's not. It was also deporting all of the criminals and the illegal immigrants and getting them out of the country and back to theirs. Well, that kind of started to change a little bit. Yeah, they'll do the ICE raids and make a big spectacle and have it on Fox News. But at the pace that Trump is going right now, I don't even know if he'll make 1 million people by the end of his term. It's a shame. What I can give him credit for, and what I will give him credit for, is the border has been shut down. I mean, shut down. Nobody's getting across that border, and I'm going to say that's about the only thing that I see that's remotely right coming from this administration. The big, beautiful bill ended up being a scary motherfucker for a lot of people. Thankfully, and I thank God, that even though my insurance did triple, I'm able to afford it. But I'm not thinking about me with this. I'm thinking about the millions and millions of people whose monthly, rates went up and their premiums, and they're not going to be able to afford it. I'm thinking about the people who are not going to be receiving food stamps when the price of groceries are going up every single week. Homeowners insurance up, electric up, our maintenance up. Try to find me something that hasn't gone up, except for the prices of gas, which is slightly going down, and you would think that would drive the price down of other things, but it's not happening fast enough. I officially think, even if he does not get impeached, that this presidency, Maga, is pretty much over with. And I think it ended when Trump was sitting there that day and they were doing a press conference in the Oval Office, and he said, what, this Epstein hoax, you know, we've been talking about it for so many years, you know, it's a Democrat hoax. So now the real Democrat hoax is that bullshit too? When I see Dan Bongino's face next to Trump, you could see him sick. When I see Pete Hegseth's face next to Trump, you could see the sickness in his stomach. There was an interesting video that played, reel, that went viral, and it was on Air Force One, and someone was asking Trump if he thinks he'll go to heaven, and he said no. And the way he said it, if you can look up that reel and find it, it's just, you could see in his eyes that he did some shit. He did some shit. How deep does that go? I don't know. They've all done some shit. You know, as a world leader, you have to do some shit. I don't know if that has to be bombing boats in Venezuela. But yeah, you could see he knew he fucked up. Now, the shit that you have to do, that's one thing. But then again, what about the American people, right? You can argue that, okay, Venezuela, there's all this fentanyl coming in from there. Nah, not really. And these little speedboats that you're bombing, obviously you want regime change. It's probably driven by oil, or with Trump, who knows, it might be a personal conflict. But that too is most likely going to change with everything else. I mean, this Epstein thing, now I'm going to look more into it. But yes, I'm quite sure that the Democrats are not the only ones behind it. And it's a shame, man. Because since he has been in office, okay, I'll tell you the things that I know off the top of my head, right? Since he's been there, yeah, the border's closed. He renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. And what? Some other shit he renamed, right? Yeah. Does that make you America first? No, it doesn't. I know he has made some money. And when I say him, the Trump organization, with their meme coins, with their the Bitcoin mining they have going on in Saudi Arabia, with the Trump towers going up in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, wherever. Yeah, there's tariffs coming in, there's money coming in. What are they going to do with that? Pay the debt to it? It's funny, my mom got a text message on her phone coming, you know, as a survey, and it was saying, it was from Donald Trump. What should I do with the money of all this tariffs coming in? Do you guys want to check, or should I give it to the government and put it, you know, towards the debt or whatever? Now, if anybody voted that they should give it to the government, you're just stupid. Speaking of the IRS, I hate the fact that I have to pay taxes now, knowing that the majority of my taxes are not going to what we all think it's going for. America first. It was a good slogan. It was good rhetoric, but it was not real, unfortunately. And it would have been great if it was. And that's the thing. A lot of people had their hopes up, man. They thought there was going to be change. But America first is more and more looking like somebody else holds the reins, and we're just kind of in the back. And maybe it's not America first. Shit, it's not. It's not. When we're putting money fucking in every other country, when we're funding a genocide, and you have people here that are getting cut off food stamps, insurance. People that haven't got paid for months because of a shutdown. How many people do you think weren't able to pay their mortgage or their rent or spent up all their savings? And it's not going to be the only time. And I don't just blame Trump. I blame the Democrats too. I don't believe in the two-party system, really. I think it's been a uniparty from the beginning. But I will tell you this. There is, since I've been alive, not one president that has ever changed my life at all. Except for Donald Trump right now. What did he do? He tripled my insurance so far per month. So officially Donald Trump is the first president that affected my life. Also, for my nephew who's going to medical school on a scholarship, he capped the student loans at, I forgot what exactly it was, maybe 200,000 max. But with that, it takes a lot more to become a doctor. So where do they have to go? Get private loans. What is that going to do? Put them in a lot more debt for a lot longer. It's just the beginning. And hopefully things will turn around and change. But as of right now, it looks like Trump's looking out more for himself and his rich friends than anyone else. And that's all I got to say for now. I was going to try to do this last night, make it short, but I ended up doing a live. But I think I got pretty much everything out that I got to say. And I will be doing a podcast, and it will be out tomorrow night. And it's going to be a good one. I just got to look more into this whole whirlwind of bullshit going on. Have a good Friday night, y'all.